This video is about basic strategies for studying more effectively to help you learn information more thoroughly and remember more information for the exam and for life beyond school. The most important thing to know is that learning and studying is active, not passive. You can't just read and absorb information. For the exam and in real life, you need to recall information and apply information to given situations. So when you are studying, you need to put the information into your brain, but then also practice getting the right information out when you need it. The way to do this is to actively question yourself while you are studying. Building the connections in your brain starts by quizzing yourself continually as you read, watch, or listen to an assignment. Research shows that you should be continually checking in with yourself about what the main idea is and why the supporting details are important. Pause after a few paragraphs and see how much you can remember about what you just read. If you struggle, go back and reread and write more notes to help you remember. This practice helps your brain store and retrieve information the way you will need to for an exam. Another way to help your brain make connections is to use the practice exercises in your lessons to help you study. The people who wrote the courses are telling you that these are important topics, so be sure you learn them. Try to answer the questions on your own, then compare your answers to the correct answers. Figure out why the answers are correct. If you don't know the correct answer or don't understand why it is correct, go back and reread, make more notes, and study that whole topic. Don't just memorize the answer. The exam is likely to have different questions on the same topic. End each study session by asking yourself about what you have already learned. Review your notes, quizzing yourself on your understanding as you go. To have a convenient way to study, make flashcards or study questions for yourself on anything that you need to help yourself remember or learn details about. Be sure the questions you ask yourself include why questions, not just detail questions that have one-word answers. Both may be important, but having to explain why something is true helps you connect reasons to a fact. The worst thing you could do is read and study all of the material on the same day and then take the exam. Students still keep trying to do this, despite decades of research proving that this doesn't work. Our brains need several sessions of processing the information in order to make accurate memories of all of it. So, when should you study to remember the most information? Without studying at all after reading an assignment, a student forgets almost all of the information after a few days. So instead, if you study all of the material the next day, represented by the big green dot, you catch and reinforce most of that information before it's forgotten. The dots for each study session get smaller and smaller because you have less and less material that you struggle with. By studying several times, you can retain almost all of the information for the exam. To be most effective, you should review as soon as you can after you finish reading an assignment on the same day. Then, review thoroughly again after a day. It is important to wait a day because our brains code long-term memories while we sleep. So if you review the next day after you sleep, you can find all of the gaps that your brain left in the information and fill them in with the correct info. Then have at least one refresher on the same material before the exam to pick up anything you forgot in the meantime. Quizzing yourself on all of the material several times can be a lot, but it is well worth it to gain a real understanding of the concepts. Here is a way to cut the amount down to a manageable level. Make flashcards with questions about everything. When you first go over them, make a Know It pile for everything you are already confident on, and a Study It pile for everything you still need to study. Each time you study, just use the Study It pile. Move those flashcards over to the Know It pile as you gain confidence with them. Every time you study, the study it pile gets smaller and the know it pile gets bigger. When you are taking the time to study, devote time to learning, even if you can only do that for a short time. Many students think that they are great at multitasking and they can study and check their phone or study while cooking spaghetti, but this always ends up less time effective than doing those things separately. Research shows that multitasking increases the amount of time you have to spend studying and decreases the amount that you learn and retain while studying. So study time is for studying only. Conversations, notifications, TV, chores, or other distractions need to wait. Instead, if you have a lot to do with little time, just make really small goals for studying and do the other tasks after you've reached those goals. When those things are done, switch your brain back to study-only mode to study for another set amount of time. It's more effective to study for only 10 minutes with no distractions than to study for 20 minutes while you are multitasking. Setting that specific goal before you start is important. Thinking you'll study until you're tired doesn't give you an endpoint to work toward. And planning to read an entire lesson no matter how long it takes could be a plan that sets you up to fail. Instead, set both a goal and a reward that you will give yourself when you reach that goal. That reward could be anything you'd rather do than be studying. Going out, watching a show, time on your phone, a snack, whatever. Stick to it and don't let yourself have the reward until the goal is met. To summarize all of the strategies here, study by asking yourself questions as you read, ensuring you understand the answers to the practice questions, and reviewing your notes and making flashcards about difficult topics. Keep the information in your brain by reviewing right after you read or watched an assignment, reviewing the next day, and repeatedly studying the topics that you struggle with. Set yourself up for success by avoiding multitasking, avoiding distractions, and setting specific short goals and rewards for reaching those goals. We hope that you'll use the strategies in this video to study more successfully, and we encourage you to talk to a success coach about other ways to be successful with Penn Foster.